Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Ashley. If you're new here, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna do a sit down catching up video. I haven't done one of these in like a year. I did one when I first moved here, and I haven't updated y'all. So much has happened and changed within that year. As you can even see, I look different. I've lost weight. Happier, I'm more fulfilled, even through my trials and tribulations, I still feel good, So let's talk, y'all. Let's catch up. Like, there's so many questions that need to be answered. There's so many things that I want to discuss with you guys. So I asked some of my followers on Instagram to send me questions of things that they want to know. So I'm going to be answering some of those, and I also have some other things to talk about with you guys as well. So let's dive right into it. I wrote the questions down in my new favorite journal. Y'all, I got the journal from Five Below. It says, "In my healing era." And that's exactly where we are with it. That's exactly where we are in life right now. And I'm just so excited to chit chat. Let's talk. Let's catch up. We're gonna just dive right into it. So the first question was, what led you to start your own business? So what led me to start my own business? So the funny thing is, I've always had a passion for hair. I've always had a passion for anything girly, period, actually. Like, I just love makeup, nails, hair, clothes, girly stuff. Like, that's fashion. Like, I remember growing up, Bratz used to be my favorite, and their slogan used to be "Passion for Fashion." Girl, I wore that slogan out. I used to be in school writing that down, like stenciling and like drawing that, like illustrating that. Like, I had that stuff all over my walls. Like, I'm true to it. Like, I was born this way. I was born this way, really. And so basically, what led me to start my own business though was I was working a job where, and I kind of touched on this in my first sit down video, but I was working a job where I was making like $10 an hour, and I was getting tips as well. I was a hostess and barista, but I also was kind of like serving to the bar area at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro inside of the Westin Hotel in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. I was there for about a year, I believe, and I just wasn't, like, I was making enough to pay my bills, but I was not making enough to like make ends meet. Like, I needed more than that. I needed money for groceries. I needed money. I just needed extra money, and that was just enough to get me by, but I needed more. So I started thinking, like, well, what am I good at? What can I do to like bring in extra money? And the first thing that came to my mind was making wigs, because I've been making my own wigs for years. I used to do sew-ins and doing people's hair and stuff in the past. I was doing my own hair. Basically, I just thought, like, that was the first thing that came to my mind, like, oh, I could make wigs, because I had actually made a couple of people's wigs before I even had that idea to like make it a whole business. And so I did just that. I turned it into a full-blown business, and the way that I did it, I really didn't know that it was gonna be successful. I didn't know that it was gonna go the way that it went. I didn't know it was gonna turn into a 5-year journey. I did that 5 years ago. And I just basically started out just, having like a little thing where I would tell people to send me their hair, and I would turn around and make it into a wig for just $50. I was hand stitching the wigs, and that sale blew up. From there, it just turned into this business where it's like people actually like my work. Like, people actually are coming to me. Like, people actually see my value in what I'm doing. Like, this is so cool, And so from there, I just started like selling hair and like opening my own line and just going and taking it from there. So that is what made me start my business in the first place. And I'm very grateful. When I did it, I just did it for extra money. I had no idea it was going to turn into my full-time job. But when COVID hit in March of 2020 and everything shut down, y'all know that 2020 and 2021 was actually really good years money-wise. So I was able to quit my job and be fully confident that I could pay my bills without having to work that job. Because honestly, it became a lot on me. It was a lot on me to have to do all of that, like go to work and work 14 days straight sometimes with no day off, and then to turn around to be working all those days, all those hours, and then it cut into my business time. It cut into the time that I was supposed to be actually like making wigs and stuff. So the second question was, talk to me about your walk through being an entrepreneur and where God has you right now. So my journey through being an entrepreneur, I'm sure y'all hear it all the time, like entrepreneurs say it all the time, it's like an up and down thing, and you really, you have your slow seasons, you have your fast seasons, and you really just, a lot of the times you don't know where your next dollar is coming from, like when your next dollar is coming in. And honestly, that can create anxiety, that can create a lot of worry, living a life like that, where you don't really know when you're gonna get your next dollar, how you're gonna get it, and everything like that. And so with that, I found myself having a lot of sales, actually. Like, I found myself having sales often, and too often. Like, I made it a regular thing, and I used to be like, well, Walmart and these other big stores, they all, Fashion Nova, Shein, like, they're always having sales. There's always a sale going on. Like, surely this has to be the way to success. And I'm sure that it does help sustain your business. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with sales. But when it comes to the point of cutting into your profit and cutting into, what you're bringing home for, and mind you, I'm making these wigs myself. I'm not buying the wigs and selling them. I'm making them myself. Most of the time, I'm making them myself. And with that, it was just a lot of work on me. I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful. I never saw myself having that many clients. I never saw myself having that much success. I never saw it, even though it was happening all the time. And I think that, through that kind of made me like take it for granted in a way, because I was so used to the success happening. I was like, from the moment I started it, it was successful, so I was not, when the slow times came, I was like, okay, you know what, I can get myself out of this. I can have a sale, and even though I'm cheating myself, I can still be successful within my own right. I can pick myself back up this way. And I know that was hurting me more than it was helping me. It was kind of just like putting a band-aid on it and helping me slide through it. But that goes into the second part of the question, where God has me right now. God has me in a season of rewriting, unlearning, and purifying and cleaning myself up. So he's been showing me this year, my business blew up. It blew up for the first time ever. It's always been like a busy business. Don't get me wrong. It's had its slow seasons. We all know in the summertime, people don't be wanting to wear wigs like that because it's hot. But most of the time, like, you can still find a way around that. Like, the hair business is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, having success in it isn't uncommon. And I'm grateful that I have had success in it. And I pray that God brings it back to me. I really do. But I blew up, and I really wasn't ready. I needed help. I needed assistance. I was dragging my feet with that. I was scared to do that. That was nothing but the enemy. I should have been getting assistance much quicker than that. I should have been more prepared for that. But it's okay, because I feel like through that, God showed me, like, you can't do this all on your own. There's no way you can think that you're going to be a one-woman show, having to make all these wigs, color all this stuff, answer to emails, answer to people. You think you can do all that on your own, and you can't. So it's time to let that hyper-independency die down. And I was just like, yeah. So I see that now, and these are harsh lessons that have to be learned. I've heard plenty of times that, businesses, small businesses usually fail within the first 5 years. And I'm just like going along year by year. This is the 5th year. I'm just going along year by year, like, oh, wow, I'm still going. I'm still doing good. Like, my business hasn't failed. Like, I must be, it must be a promising business for me. And I still do feel like it could be. I just think that along the way, I started really losing myself and losing control, because I was lacking faith. And that's what he's been showing me. Like, me having all those sales was me not feeling like God was sustaining for me. Like God wasn't going to be able to provide it for me unless I went over there and sold the wig for way less than what it was supposed to be sold for, Ultimately, just gaining a lot of clients, but still struggling. Like, sometimes I wasn't struggling, but sometimes I was. And it's like, with all this work that you're doing, with all these orders that you are juggling, with, you know, you should be further along in your finances than what you are, but you keep cutting it down to where you're barely making any profit. And now you're here struggling to pay your bills, struggling to pay your rent, you know. And that's just me being transparent. It's been hard, and I'm sure that anybody, whether you work a 9 to 5, you have a full-time job, you work a part-time job, you work several jobs, or you're an entrepreneur, you're juggling different things, I'm sure everybody can relate to that. So it's no shame in what I'm saying, because I know that it's a relatable topic. Right now, prices are the highest that they've ever been for rent, for all these things. Everything is really expensive, and the money ain't getting no bigger. So it's like, why am I sitting up and doing myself a disservice by shortening my prices, bringing my prices down in a climate like this, at a time like this? It's just not right. And it honestly goes back to me not knowing my worth. And me not knowing my worth kind of trickled down into other, like it shined a light on how I haven't been knowing my worth in other parts of my life. And I just really feel like right now in this season, I just feel like God has me in this season right now of really knowing my worth and really learning my worth, because I feel like that's something that in my head I can know it and I can say it, but my actions and my actual beliefs on the inside did not reflect that. And I also just learned that recently too, because I'm in a group called Hello You. Shout out to Hello You, and shout out to Crown by Christ. Shout out to the 2 groups that I'm in. These groups have been helping me so much stay intentional with my walk with God. I really got off track this year, y'all, and I got to get into how I got off track too, because I feel like what I went through could really help the next person. Like, I really do, because we really don't be knowing the dangers of the things that we tapping into. But in the group Hello You, we actually had an activity the other day where we had to write down the things that, like, all the nice things that God said about us, and like all his promises and everything about us, and the good things that we believe about ourselves. And then on toilet paper, we had to write down all the bad things that people had said about us throughout our life. And it's kind of like a breaking the plate type of thing, but we were on Zoom and we were at home, so we did it on tissue when we flushed down the toilet. But basically, we had to look in the mirror and say the things that, like, God's promised about us and the good things about us. And we also had to say the list of things that people have said about us over the years, like the negative things, like you're a failure, anything, you ugly, anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had to write all of that down and look in the mirror and speak against it. Speak against, like, switch it around and make it basically a positive message. And I didn't realize, I have been noticing lately that I am very critical of myself. And through that realization, I want to try to figure out how to stop being that way, because I want to see myself the way God sees me. And then also, when other people say amazing things about me as well, it's like, why is it hard for me to believe that? Like, I hear it, I receive it, but I don't digest it into my beliefs. And that's a problem, you know? So I realized through that exercise that I was struggling to even say nice things about myself in the mirror. And this was just the other day. Y'all, I'm still on this healing journey. I was struggling to say nice things about myself. I was struggling to look in the mirror and be like, you are worth, you are worthy. You are, successful. You will be successful. You are all these great things. And it's like, I know these things about myself, but I didn't believe them. And so that's where I'm at with it right now. Is God is really trying to, like, show me. I'm constantly asking God. I've been praying for that lately, for God to show me the way that he sees me, because my worth in myself ultimately comes from him, And so through knowing that and through seeing that, and I'm still on this journey. I'm still on this journey of getting myself back together, of caring less about what people think, and just really honestly transforming into the person that God has called me to be and has been wanting me to be for a while now. But I have been so worried about being judged or being anything, like, being judged or being outcasted, or anything like that, because people wouldn't understand the walk and the journey that I'm on, but God is calling me to something greater. There's a reason why God wants me to be vocal and speaking more about him on my platforms. He's been telling me that all year. And like I would try to do it, but it wouldn't be as fruitful. It wouldn't be as it would be okay. It would be like lukewarm messages because I was lukewarm. I wasn't fully into it the way that I should have been. I had kind of lost sight of that over the past year. I lost sight. I used to be so on fire for God when I first moved here a year ago. I had just got done getting baptized. Like I got baptized. I was on fire. Like the fact that God moved me out here and I didn't even see that coming. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but he did, just literally like, okay, baptized, okay, surrender, okay, over here. Like I was not expecting that. I never in my life planned to move to Biloxi. I never saw that coming, you know, but God had other plans and he literally put me here. And now I see why he put me here was to separate me and isolate me, but not really isolate me from the world, but separate me from my past life, separate me from where I grew up at. And I love my hometown, but I don't think that I would have been able to fully flourish into who he's flourishing me to be peacefully or fully if I was around all the old things that I used to be around, all the old people, all the old places and everything. So I know that the purpose is greater for why he has me here. I know that the purpose, I get it. You know, I get why I'm here, and I literally feel like he is like stripping me of the old and pouring in the new because it's something that he wants me to do. Do I know what yet? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what's next. My business is at a standstill right now, it feels like. I'm just praying and waiting and being faithful to what he's telling me to do. I know that he wants me to speak more about him. That's a very strong message from him. So that's what I have to get into. So I have to share with y'all something that I hold very close to me that I just got out of myself. So basically, it's been hard for me to even think to talk about this subject, but I know that God wants me to share it for a reason because it probably can save some lives. It probably can save some people. Because I know that prior to this lesson, I didn't understand the dangers of it, like the severity of the dangers of it. But now I do because I actually went and did it myself. So I want to say like towards the end of last year, I started really questioning my future. I started really questioning, you know, people's intentions in my life. I started really questioning where things were going with certain people in my life at that time. And the questions were being answered by God. They were. God was answering. He was removing people. He was revealing things, and I still had questions. I had questions because I'm thinking that, you know, these connections that I'm making are people that are going to be lifelong. Like these are people that I'm thinking are going to be around, you know. So I'm like, oh God, I need answers. Did you just send me this person to be in my life forever, or is this a test, you know? And although he was showing me answers right there in my face, I still had questions and I felt like I needed more answers. So what common mistake do we make when we feel like we need more answers? We turn to astrology. We turn to looking at our horoscope. And that's how innocently it started off. Like, oh, okay. You know, Pisces, let me look at this. Let me see what's going on. Oh, that's accurate. You know, and then the curiosity grew. And it went from me just looking on the Instagram posts and looking on Google and stuff and looking on the apps and stuff to actually going and watching videos on TikTok and Instagram, and I'm like, surely there must be longer videos than this. So I started looking on YouTube. Child, the deeper I dug, the more I was getting pulled in. I did not even realize that. Like, I was sitting up watching readings and I wanted to hear more and more. And it's like, it's the same stuff they saying, just in different ways, from different perspectives, from different people. But it was like, kind of how you would sit up and watch vlogs and listen to sermons and listen to podcasts, which is what I was doing at first. It got replaced. All of that got replaced over time. Like I'm gradually just watching less and less of those things and readings, wake up listening to readings all day in my ear, listening to it, and it's transforming me. It's distracting me. Not only that, you never really know, like if you really want to get into spirituality, you never really know what you're tapping into. And that's why they tell you to, that's why God said stay away from it too. First of all, you shouldn't be so worried about getting answers from anybody else but him. Yes, he is a jealous God, but also, what they gonna tell you that God ain't already showed you? God has the answers. God has the final say so. So people can tell you what's going on in the energy or what they predict or whatever, but they still got that from what's been going on in the world. They're able to pick up their spirits. And I don't mean to get on here preaching, but I gotta just let y'all know. There are spirits out here that can, fool you, that can go around and collect information and make you feel like, I know this about you. This is something that you need to know. The whole time, they just saw it happen. They just saw it happen. They just have a knowing. They have an awareness, and they're sharing that with you to make it seem like y'all have this connection or whatever. So fast forward, I was watching those readings. It went from just watching a few here and there to watching them every day, all day, listening to them every day, all day, fiending for answers. And it was doing so much bad to me. It was taking me away from God. That's number one. It was taking me away from God. I was still praying, but I wasn't praying as much as I should have been. I stopped reading my Bible. I can't even say I was still reading. I wasn't. I was too engulfed in watching readings. And what I've learned from that journey was, there is a counterfeit spirit to the Holy Spirit called the Kundalini spirit. And that spirit is connected to divination, which is, I'm gonna put the definition. Divination is basically an obsession with knowing your future, but in a way of tapping into spirituality to know, into tapping into astrology and the stars and everything to know your future, basically. Divination and tarot and everything, she is connected to that. That is a spirit. And I remember as I was doing my research, that spirit actually connects to your spine. Listen, I had spine problems that I could not understand, to the point where my spine would just be hurting so bad, and I've never experienced that in my life. And I remember, after a while, God convicted me. He convicted me. He pulled me back in. And everything was starting to look up. The conviction was heavy. It was loud. And God was basically telling me, you need to stop. Do you even have faith in me? It hurts my feelings that you don't believe me this much, to where you have to sit up and listen to all this other stuff. And he has scriptures in the Bible as well that reference to why we should stay away from astrology. But I will say, I never knew that I was capable of hurting God's feelings. I've always known that God could be a jealous God. I've always known that God could be angry. I've always known that God could be pleased and proud, But to be in relationship with him is to know that there's so much more depth to our God. He created us. So all the personality that we have is personality that he has as well. And I knew that we could make him angry and all that, but I did not know that we could make him sad. So once he shared with me how sad I was making him by indulging in that, it broke my heart. I've never felt God's sadness before, and I never want to make him sad again. I didn't even realize that what I was doing could hurt him. I didn't even realize that our God is a God that could be hurt, but he can be. And ultimately, I hurt him. And knowing that, it broke my heart. I never imagined myself hurting God. I didn't even know that was possible, So, through that conviction, I got convicted, but then I stayed away from it for a little while, and then I ended up straying back away. Knowing what I knew, I still strayed away again. But I knew this time it wasn't my doing. I'm literally crying out to God, God, I don't even want to do this. I remember watching those readings and not even listening to them, just having it playing in the background. I wasn't even listening no more because I didn't want to hear it. But it was something attached to me. It was that spirit attached to me that had me feeling like, if you do not listen to this, you're going to be anxious. You need like so much anxiety if I was not listening to it, so much anger on me if I was not listening to it, if I was not indulging in it. And it was just like, man. So I remember crying out to God, like, God, please, I don't even want to do this. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to hurt you. I don't mean to do this. And then I just felt like it wasn't me that was doing it. I wasn't even interested anymore. And I was trying to break away from it. So with me crying out to God and calling out to God through that, he saved me. He saved me. He ultimately pulled me away from it, and he showed me that I don't have to worry, you know, and I need to let that stuff go. And so that's what I did. And, you know, it hasn't been like a quick, easy process. I'm still going through this journey myself. But I know that I had to go through this so I could help other people and warn other people of the dangers, because you really don't know. Like me, I kept wondering, like, well, God, why can't I? Like the whole time I'm doing it before I got convicted, I'm like, well, why can't I? What's wrong with this? Like, why can't I? Even though I felt like I shouldn't have been, I didn't fully understand why I shouldn't have been doing it. So God showed me why. Like I didn't go as deep into it as everybody else, you know, as I could have, because it's so much depth to all that stuff. I just was watching readings, and just from watching those readings, my life changed. My attitude changed, my perception and everything changed, and most importantly, my faith in God changed, and I did not know it. I used to be somebody who was so strong in my faith, and I realized that once I got pulled out of the readings and he showed me from like the other side, like, this is how far away you were from me this whole time. This is how far away from faith you have been this whole time. And when he showed me that, I was just like, wow. And I'm still seeing it. Like, I'm having to now rebuild the faith, rebuild the relationship with him and everything. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but I'm just so grateful that he has rescued me and saved me from what I didn't even know I was doing to myself. I didn't even know that I was causing a type of destruction on myself. And now that I know, I feel like my responsibility is to spread the message to y'all. So I didn't mean to turn this whole video into a sermon, but it's definitely a testimony, because God saved my life. And now here I am trying to clean up this mess that I created this whole year, because I've been watching those videos from January till May. Yeah, I stopped watching in May and I started trying to get my life back together. So a good 5-6 months. No, because I started in December. So like a good 5-6 months of me watching those readings. It took me off course a lot. Mentally, spiritually, financially, everything. And I just want to be able to help spread the message, because you never know who needs to know why, or like the dangers of why, and the depths to it. The fact that we can hurt God, the fact that we can. It's like, why would you want to, you know? So definitely learned a huge lesson behind that, and I would definitely not be dabbling in that ever again. But even with that, you need deliverance and everything. I feel like I do, and I have deliverance coming up, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I'm just grateful that God showed me, because I had questions. I've always been a curious girl. Since a little girl, I've always had a lot of questions, and now it's like God showed me, like, well, okay, here's your answer. So he was also showing me through dreams and everything, and just the way my life went, because I was going from my business blowing up. Although it blew up in the wrong way, from me having these sales and selling myself short, it still blew up, and it still could have probably been salvaged had I been obedient and not went against God and watched those readings. And that's just how I definitely feel about my life. So maybe somebody watching this needs to know that, needs to hear that, and needs to, you know, maybe this is your sign that there are some things, like there are choices that you make along the journey that can deter you from your ultimate purpose and your ultimate success. And every choice you make leads to an outcome. So it's consequences to your actions, and don't ever think that just because it's not affecting you right then as you're doing it, it won't come back on you. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into that, but that's basically where God has me right now and has been having me, and He's been really on me about spreading these messages and being vocal about it and not living in fear, but actually warning His people about the dangers of things and the way that things could go. So that is the answer to that question. So the next question, this goes into our next question because we're still talking about business, is when is the website coming back? Y'all, I have no idea when the website is coming back, honestly. I know that God has me in a season right now where He kind of told me that He told me I needed to pick different clientele first. I need to change my clientele. So with that, I do assume that that means to ultimately stop selling myself short. He did say that as well. But also, I feel like He is saying that my business is dissolving at the moment. Now, by dissolving, I don't know if that means that I won't get it back or not, but I do know that whatever I do has to be rooted in God. So if it is being dissolved so that it can be built back up the way that it's supposed to be through God, then I'm totally ready for that. I'm totally ready for, if my clientele has to change to where it's just more of empathetic people who actually care about me and my well-being. I'm open. I want that. I'm just a girl who makes wigs. I'm not a big large corporation. And when it comes to like hard times like now, when I'm going through a transition, I'm going through these trials and tribulations, it matters who I'm serving. I don't want to service people who are snapping on me, being mean to me, cussing me out, and bashing me and everything. Like, that's not what I want. I understand that that's what comes with business, and I understand that may be inevitable sometimes, but I don't think that that's what God wants for me either, because if you know me, I have always been the type to go above and beyond for my clients, for my business. Like, I've had product lines, I've had plenty of giveaways, I've had brand ambassadors, I've had, I'm always having sales to accommodate the people around me because I'm in Mississippi and I feel like people here who can't afford, the wigs, I want to be able to service everybody. But God is like, that's not your calling. That's not your calling to sit up and service everyone, and while you are simultaneously not getting what you need out of it. And I just feel like God didn't bless me with these gifts and these talents just for me to turn around and sell myself short through it. I never felt like this before, but I do now, and I know that that's God revealing that to me. So yeah, ultimately, I don't know when my website is coming back. Right now, the bill is real expensive, y'all, and it just is what it is. I have other things that I have to try to prioritize, such as my rent and such as getting people's orders out to them, because I do have orders to get out. And my website being down does kind of hurt because that's money that could be coming in. And without me having my website up, it deters people from wanting to order from me, although I can still take orders. Like, I can still order your hair and use some of that money to put towards order other people's hair. You know what I'm saying? But with my website being down, it kind of slims down a lot of the chance of people ordering from me. Not saying that I don't have faith that people will order, because I know that if God wants it to happen, it'll happen. But this is the first time my website has ever been down like this. This is the first time my website has been down for about a month now. It's going to be a month in a few days. This is the longest my website has ever been down. So I know that this is a lesson that God really wants to stick, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the lesson. I know that there's a greater purpose for all of this, and I just want to live in whatever God has for me. So I have no idea when the website is coming back up, to answer your question. But I hope and pray that it'll be soon, and I hope and pray that I honestly just want to do something new within my business as well. Aside from not just always having sales, I also want to be able to rebrand in a way and just make it to a more of a glorifying God type of business and just aesthetic, so it's in the works. We figuring things out, but in the meantime, if you want to place an order with me, I would love that, because it cannot, not only will I be ordering your hair right then and there, so we can go ahead and get you your wig out the way, but your order out the way, but also I'm going to be ordering. It's going to help me catch up on orders for people that I owe, because right now I'm not really working as I was. I was working like this year, I was making 5-6 wigs a day. I was making like 30 wigs a week. Tired, wasn't able to put my full effort into all of them because I was so tired, you know. And because I was overworking myself, I was sweatshopping myself in my own business, you know. I'm not doing that anymore, but it's because God literally is like putting me in a position where I can't. But that doesn't mean that I'm not able to accept orders, and any order would help at this point, you know, because right now I'm working outside of my business, trying to find a job. I've been door dashing, doing Uber eating and everything just to try to bring some type of money in, which is much slower than money if I was actually making wigs. And the wigs are great quality, as y'all know. So just want to throw that in there. If anybody wants to place an order, contact me, message me, call me, email me, do what you got to do. We can figure out a payment arrangement, a payment plan, whatever you need to do, and we can get this going. Just let me know, and hopefully, you know, business picks back up soon. But I am also in a season where God doesn't want me idolizing things, so I don't idolize my business. And that's another big thing that he showed me this year. As he was telling me to speak more about him on my platforms, I was too busy posting about wigs and trying to make money, and like, just when I think about, if you've seen the movie Inside Out too, when I think about that movie, I think about the part where anxiety was like standing there and like causing the girl to have an anxiety attack. And when she was standing there and like spinning around like simultaneously, but also standing there and looking straight ahead and panicking, like that's where I was. That's where I've been for the past few years, honestly, within my business and just life in general. But especially this year, I was panicking and I was just trying to keep it going. Like, I had all these eyes on me, like everybody congratulating me, like, oh, congratulations, I'm so proud of you, like your business blowing up, I can't wait to see it. And it's like, okay, now I'm feeling more pressure to keep it going. And it's like, whole time I'm not even including God for real. Like, and that's where I was messing up at. So yeah, I think that God just wants me to really just slow down and get that connection back with him that we once had before. And it's coming back. It's coming back stronger and better than ever. I think sometimes we have to learn lessons. You know, we don't have to, because they can be avoided. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes we have to learn lessons and grow through those lessons to ultimately get to the other side and become a better person through it and strengthen your relationship with God. So he's given me plenty of grace through all of this, and I appreciate all of my clients that are being patient right now and understanding and empathetic towards me and just giving me grace. I've been praying for that as well, and I'm just so grateful to see that happening, because through this process, God is also showing me the type of clients that I want, the type of clients that I need and that I deserve. And I have clients that are praying for me through this. I have clients that are uplifting me through this. I have clients that are like, girl, take your time. It's okay. I understand. You know, if you need anything, let me know. Because at the end of the day, it's just a wig. And people by now know that my credibility. People know I'm not a scammer. People know I'm not getting over on nobody. So for that to be appreciated and shown through these times, it really, really makes me so happy. I'm so grateful for y'all. Like, thank y'all so much for just being God-sent clients. And I know that that's what he wants me to have in this season moving forward forever. No matter what business I have, no matter what I'm doing, it needs to be centered in God, and the people that I'm serving need to be, if not with God, on the way to God. Because we all are somewhat a part of someone's story. And if I'm just here to plant a seed, then I'm whatever God wants me to do is what I would do. Okay? So yeah, I don't know when the website is coming back up, but hopefully soon. We just gonna see how it go, y'all. We gonna see how it go. We gonna see what God has for me, because at the end of the day, I have no control over this. I can only do what God is telling me and being faithful to what he's telling me to do. And right now he's telling me to speak and tell y'all. So that's what I'm doing. And who knows what's to come, girl, because I didn't even know any of this was gonna happen this year. If you would have told me this time last year that, oh, you're gonna get wrapped up in tarot readings, oh, your business gonna blow up, oh, your grandfather's gonna pass away a few days before your birthday. That happened too. And that your business gonna blow up, but you're gonna end up kind of losing all of that and having to start over and do something else, and you lost sight of God. If you would have told me this all this time last year, I would have been like, girl, please, I'm never doing any of that, like, please. But all of that happened, and like, it just goes to show you that, like, you're not in control. You have no idea what God has for you, what's in store for you, and you just can't. You have no control, so you might as well just do what God telling you to do. Be obedient, because at the end of the day, He has the final say so. And if you're gonna go against what He's telling you to do, you don't want to end up like Jonah. And that's what we talked about in church today. How God told Jonah to go and spread the gospel to people, and he was like, "No, I don't want to," and he went somewhere else. And God ultimately had to cause a storm while Jonah was on that boat, break the boat in half, and get Jonah in the belly of the whale for Jonah to finally look up and listen. And I feel like that's exactly what happened to me this year. So, you don't want to be like Jonah? So, yeah. That is where I'm at, and an update about my website, basically. I want to rebrand, so hopefully that's in the cards, because that's kind of what's happening anyway. And I can't wait to bring y'all along with me on this journey, because it's a journey for me too. Like I say, I don't know. I really don't know. It's whatever God got for me. So we're gonna see. Okay, next question is, what have you been doing to lose weight? I see the difference and it looks good on you. Thank you so much. So basically, what I've been doing to lose weight, I have not been to the gym. That's another thing from watching all those readings and being so wrapped up in my own life of working all the time and doing things I shouldn't have been doing. I was not going to the gym either. I have not really been to the gym since probably like January or February, just being honest. But I have been doing a lot of walking. So through me being so stressed out this year, I was eating a whole lot less. And that's ultimately what made me start losing weight. I feel like, in a way, God had been preparing me these last few months to start fasting. And I think fasting is a beautiful, powerful tool that will really help you, like, get into that intimacy and that connection with God. Had you would have told me 6 months ago even that I was going to be fasting, I probably wouldn't have believed you, because I was one of those people that had it in my head that I eat too much to go on a fast. Like, fasting scared me. Although I kept seeing the videos on TikTok, I kept seeing the posts on social media about fasting. I knew God was telling me, like, you need to fast, you need to fast. He was even telling me, literally. He told me to fast. He told me to build my prayer closet. All of these things that I've been doing recently are things that He's been telling me so I can purify and get myself together. And the prayer closet is a whole nother conversation. Y'all, if you haven't built a prayer closet, I think that you should, because the intimacy, the connection, the privacy that you have, it's like once you go in there and you close that door, it's literally just you and God in your tabernacle. Like, there is safety and protection, and you don't have to worry about, like, because I remember it'd be times where I would pray and I would feel like I need to look back, or like I'm hearing the noise around the house, and it's like that's distracting me from my prayer. And also, you don't want the enemy to always hear what you got going on. It ain't none of his business, because he would try to come in and sabotage it. So praying in your prayer closet wipes all of that away. God, it even says it in His Word that He will protect us in our prayer closet. So He had been telling me to build a prayer closet. He had been telling me to fast. And also, He had been pulling me away from drinking. If you know me, you know I used to be a girl who could drink 4, 5, 6 drinks and drink like a fish. And now lately, it's like He's been pulling me away from that. I used to try to, like, once I started realizing where my life was taking a turn, my coping mechanism used to be to run to the bar. So I used to run to the bar and, eat and drink at the bar as to help myself feel better and cope through it. But God is like, yeah, we wiping that out too. We're not going to keep doing that either. And so through that, these past few months, He's like slowed me down. Like, I can probably drink 1 drink, but 2 is pushing it. Like, I could not finish a second drink. And same thing with food. I used to, like, emotionally eat. So, like, I would always eat, or I would overeat, or I would undereat. Lately, I've been undereating, but I know that it's because God has been preparing my body to fast and preparing my body to cleanse and preparing my body to release all those toxins and everything. And I'm still going through this purifying system, but I'm so grateful for it. So that's ultimately how I've been losing weight, though, is I was so stressed out. I was barely eating. And sad to say, but that's how it happened. I was barely eating, and I was working a lot, and I was also when I did eat, though, I was eating healthy most of the time. If I ate out, it wasn't nearly as much as I would eat healthy. I would always like eat like baked like chicken bowls and salads and just like healthier things. Like I was looking through my phone actually, and I was looking through my Instagram highlights, and I was looking at how much I used to actually cook soul food and stuff, and I was thinking like, wow, that stopped. I haven't really been like cooking. Like that's one of my other passions is cooking, and I haven't even been doing that as much because I've been so focused on eating healthier. And I started this journey last year at the beginning of 2023. So ultimately, just staying more consistent and eating more healthy than eating junk. 5 days a week, eating more healthy, eating the baked chicken with the rice and the vegetables and the salads and the salmon, and making that a part of my daily eating. Like I would eat that 5 days a week most of the time. Even on the weekend, sometimes I would eat it, and even like it helped a lot. And the cutting down on the drinking, it helped a lot too. And I just been slimming down and slimming down. Now, I will say, I don't want to get no smaller. Like this is good enough for me. I do not want to get no smaller than this. But I'm grateful that I was able to lose weight just by detoxing and purifying my body, and sticking to that at least. Like, no, I haven't been in the gym, so yeah, I do need to tone up. But other than that, like walking and eating healthy and drinking water has really been like doing the body great for me. So, and also been helping clear my skin, just pursuing God. Like in that pursuit of pursuing God, everything else lines up with it. So grateful for that. And now for the last and final question, it is tips for girls in their 20s. So I feel like the biggest tips I can say right now is to just have a mind of your own. Don't be so easily swayed. Don't be so easily influenced by the things you see on social media, the people around you. Stay true to your story. Listen to what God is telling you. If you do not have a relationship with God, but you're interested, it piques your interest when people talk about God. It piques your interest when you hear these stories and these testimonies. Give it a try, because I'm telling you, our purpose lies within God, and that is something that you never want to lose sight of, is the fact that everybody's here for a reason. Everybody's here to fulfill some type of promise or some type of, and it's through God. So just don't lose sight of who you are. I know that with everything that we see on social media, the way that we have to keep up with all these things, and the expectations that are on us all the time, is what God wants to strip away. Because why are we trying to live up to the expectations of the world when God could come back at any moment? And what would you have to show for it? Would you be confident in knowing that you're going with Him? Would you be confident in knowing that you live your life to the fullest capacity of like happiness and abundance? And if the answer is no, then just keep going towards what you know is right. And just try not to let, the ways of the world deter you. If y'all hear some noise in the background, I'm sorry, my son is at home. But yeah, so that's basically it. Also, another thing that I can say that I'm learning too is financial responsibility, and how important it is. Like, yes, in your 20s, especially in this climate that we're in right now, this economic climate where everything is so hard to afford and everything is so high, it's hard to save money because it's just hard. But I think it's important to at least still try to practice even in hard times like this, because I know for me personally, I didn't really have the best examples of financial responsibility growing up, having to learn these things on my own. So I think that being more financially responsible, even no matter how young you are, is important. And Yeah. Financial responsibility, taking care of your body, you know, taking care of your mind. Don't overwork yourself. Take time to do things for you. Take time to do things that are pleasing to you, because you ain't nobody is living in your body or in your mind but you. So at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. Do, if you got to schedule a spa day, do that. Get you some time. Go get you a massage, girl. Go take yourself out to eat. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? To feed yourself. If you want to read a book, read a book. Read your Bible. Do what you got to do though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do what you have to do for you. And also, gratitude. Be grateful for what you have, because it's hard when you're looking around at other people. It's hard to sometimes be grateful, because you're looking at all these other people accomplish all these other things and reach these milestones. She got a new car. She just bought a house. Her business just hit 1 million. Like, it's so much pressure all the time to perform and to be, you know, on go. But the biggest takeaway is that God wants you to know that you can get all that through Him without having to compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. So that's another thing that's like really common, is comparing, because I've been suffering from that too, you know, and it does steal your joy, and it makes you bitter. Who wants to be bitter? You know, nobody. So ultimately, yeah, just do. Okay, sorry y'all. If it got cut off, that's because my camera cut off. I'm running out of storage, y'all. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Hopefully this answers everybody's questions, and I thank y'all so much for watching my video of my life update. And hopefully I said something here that was fruitful to you and that could help you through your journey as well. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Love y'all so much. I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye.